Hello friends, it's Jennifer Pearson here, and I am continuing my look at the Romantic Tarot by Scarabeo. Oh, everybody. Yep, Scarabeo. And I'm doing this right after yard work. A lot of yard work, and so this is my way to come in and relax, is to continue this review, and I'm doing card by card. This is going to be for the suit of the wands. The first one was for the suit of cups. And one thing I forgot to mention in number one is that this deck came with a pretty heavy-duty odor, and I don't know if that's typical of the Los Scarabeo decks or if it's just the manufacturer of this particular deck. But just be forewarned, you might have to give it some airing time, and I actually use dryer sheets that I have already used, and I save them for other things too, because you can rub them and it eliminates statics and stuff. And so the odor is really, it's diminishing. In fact, this smells more now like the dryer sheets than it does like the ink that first came. So there's one solution to that issue, but it was pretty pungent when I first unwrapped it. It was in the box in plastic. And I actually have never had a problem with a deck coming with a smell, a weird odor. Alright, so we're going to tackle the wands today, and the really amusing thing about the wands, the suit of wands here, is that they are associated directly with phallic symbols. So sometimes they mean 2 penises, 3 penises. It's really funny. And their canes actually are staves, staffs, that the men, I'm not that up on Edwardian fashion as opposed to other time periods, but other people have said that this is Edwardian. At any rate, when men would bandy about with a cane and a top hat, those times is pretty much where it's set. I have no idea whether it's at all true to the time period. But here we are with the suit of wands, and the first one is kind of cute. You know, there's a garter on a man's staff there, hanging there, and it's red, and this red is the theme throughout here, and there's it does really well actually with the red. And you probably can't see it in the image here, but at the top of the staff, where the handle is, where the handle meets the staff itself, there's a naked couple embraced. And so that's where we're at with that. But I think that's cool. It makes complete sense. And it's interesting that they have kind of rural scenes back behind, because this is not a deck that tends to be rural. It has, and in fact, the wands are set particularly in Paris. Paris is chosen. For this deck, each of the suits has a city associated with it. And I warned people in the first video that the deck has some cynicism, so keep that. For a romance or love-oriented, and see, I, in my own innocence, was assuming romance equated to love, and in fact, in the cynicism of this deck, that's not necessarily true. They are often equating romance with manipulation, and definitely, how would I say, and sexual goal seeking, let's just put it that way, or pleasure seeking, as opposed to like deep felt love, you know. maybe, maybe not. That's definitely not a predominant theme here. Okay, so this deck has its purposes, but you have to be ready for some cynicism coming in. So if you think somebody needs a wake-up call, if you yourself need a wake-up call, this is a good deck. And but it shouldn't be the only deck used if you are looking for love, because it's not likely to show you love. All right, so here we have the Two of Wands. And so this is completely different from the regular Two of Wands, because although you could call this an adventure, we don't know if this is the person's usual inclination or if this is a sexual adventure. At any rate, what we obviously have here is two men, two wands, okay? two men, two phallic fellows. So a gay couple, and it's cool to have that option in here for that to come up. But again, really not, how on earth did I get that on there? Not at all traditional. And then the Three of Wands, and do we have, all right, let me read some of these. They're in the guidebook. Oh, I might end up sneezing as a result of all of my time outside. All right, excuse me, I need a drink too. Wands or staves are appropriate. That I'm doing this now after just wrestling with a bunch of shrubbery outside. All right, so our A's, and again, this is very, very brief, short, like two-liners in the, well, okay, three-liners. Sometimes getting a little bit longer than that in the guidebook here, the little white book. And what they do here is they kind of give their own take for the card that's specific to this deck, and then they give one word that relates at the end to a classic like Rider-Waite tarot deck, which is kind of ridiculous because there's no way that these are anywhere near, most of them, like the Rider-Waite. And so I don't know why they even added that in. They should have just dispensed with it. Let's not pretend here. Okay, so we had Ace, the walking stick. There is no return from the voyage you are taking. The dream fairies have opened their wings and are ready to fly with you. News. Okay, so anyway, that's pretty cute. And that staff with the little garter is cute too. All right, so Love at the Opera Garnier. Okay, he's putting a garland on the guy's lapel, so I don't know if that relates or not. Mold the clay of passion in your own form and give it to someone. Oh, that's interesting. The breath of love will bring it to life. Ambition. Okay. Yeah, he's putting a rose in somebody's lapel. So kind of a cool message. I don't know that I would say that this was ambitious. Let's see. There was a woman in the background. Anyway, all right. So we get to the Three of Wands. Again, very amusing. This, they call it the Queen Bee. The Queen Bee. Again, three phalluses there. Three men, three penises. It cracks me up. Okay, so. And what is this? The Queen Bee. It takes courage to say yes. It takes strength to say no. From torn pride filters a new light. Expectation. So they're kind of giving, from torn pride filters a new light, kind of the perspective of the woman and the perspective of the man. So that's cool. But again, kind of an amusing card. I mean, you know, these three guys courting her, what would she be saying yes to? We're not so sure. One thing that's noticeable here is that you have men really that are three different ages. And that's featured elsewhere sometimes. That in the next one, okay? So it's like she's gone. In fact, I think they are very related, the 3 and the 4. So the 4 is here. Again, they actually give this a rather dark, again, cynical twist. All right, the traditional card of marriage. When I first looked at this, I thought, oh, well, they kept this like the Rider-Waite, you know? It's clearly, even more clearly than Rider-Waite, they're getting married. But if you look closely, it's a young woman and an older man. And the older man doesn't look particularly pleased about the whole thing. It's like a business arrangement to him. He's just doing this, you know, so he can have a young bride. So he can have a young woman in his household. And all of the people being pictured here are men. And so there's also the darker or negative implication that many people have when a younger woman marries an older established man, that she is marrying for money or stability, okay? So that way they did keep, and they put a twist on it, the stability associated with 4. So they call this the can-can? No. This is the marriage they've twisted it. Oh, they have an error in the guidebook. Okay, it's called a marriage of interests. The heart plays and laughs only when it finds its mate. The solitary path brings no joy, only fatigue. And again, I think that this is the perspective of, well, it could be the man and the woman, but a marriage of interests, not of passion, not of love. He's looking for somebody maybe to bear children, hard to say, certainly to, you know, keep his virility going, and she has her own interests, again, perhaps financial, perhaps just so that she isn't alone, as they say here. All right, so the next one. This is the 5. And this is very, again, very different. The traditional Rider-Waite is a bunch of young men, kind of batting about with a bunch of wands. You know, they're sparring. I call that the bickering card. The 5 of Wands is the bickering card. Here there is competition. There is competition, but in this case it's the women. Or so it seems to me. They're all out there dancing and flashing in order to get the attention of the man. So they're a bunch of four flames, and then the man. And behind his back he's holding flowers, and she's kind of tempting him a little bit with a flower. So, and they're calling this the can-can. Love calls you to the battlefield. Not to watch you lose, but to crown you the victor's celebration. So they're almost giving this, the more traditional, this 5, the more traditional meaning of the 6. So here is, either that or they've gotten another one. No, because they even called this, no, they're just giving conflict. That's the old Rider-Waite. Again, I don't even know why they put that in there. Okay, so next is the 6. Here we have the 6 of Wands. The 6 of Wands in the traditional Rider-Waite is a very public card of victory. And it's public, let me see if I can bring it out, because it's, again, very, very different. Okay, so here you have them. So this guy's riding through publicly, his victory being celebrated. Okay, and here you have a couple who are actually secluding themselves. So the gift. And here they have a different, it says communicate is not, so they've got birds here. See, this is not a card of communication, except perhaps by the group of people who are going, yay, yay, our hero. Okay, so this card, it says, the gift. You were not born to live inside a prison. Soon the bars will open, and then you will have what you have always desired. Okay, so their focus and the meaning is on the birds. You see, she's got a bird. She's got a bird here in a cage, and then the wands are back here, and there's a bird on each one of them. So that's some interesting symbology, more so than tends to happen in this particular deck, in that you're communicating your passion. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, there's 6 birds there. That's interesting. And then she has a bird in the cage. And so they're lending the significance in the guidebook to the bird in the cage. Soon you will be free. Okay, 7, meeting at the station. All right, again, how different is that? 7, rider weight is standing your ground. Okay, standing your ground. Protecting the ground that you've gained. And here we have somebody getting off of a train. It's like this is a happy reunion. Happy, looks like a happy reunion. Let me read the guidebook, because we just never know. There's always these cynical twists to these cards a lot of times. So yes, well really we can't tell if that woman is with the man behind her or the man in front of her, so there is a bit of confusion there. So 7, meeting at the station. Pour love and somebody will quench your thirst. Offer the heart, someone will feed on it. Well, that's kind of weird. Set your table, the dinner guests are about to arrive. And they do give this their own meaning that is not Rider-Waite based, and they call it trust, and that makes a lot of sense for that, in the sense that she is leaping down into his arms. Okay. So thus far, this is one of the less cynical. So they have less cynical suits, although we had some interesting ones to start. So apparently whoever created the deck has more faith in passion than they have in love, because the cup suit was totally not not romantic to me. Let's see here. So here we have, gosh, no, where's my 8? Oh, I missed my 8. All right, so here's the 8 of Wands. And the 8 of Wands is usually speedy communication. And is actually in the Rider-Waite one of the least illustrated cards. So here we have an interesting bedroom scene. And they're saying here, amorous awakening. And which is kind of funny, because she's obviously kind of pulling back the curtain to say, hey buddy, time to get up and get out. It seemed so far, instead it was always there, just steps away. Now nothing will be the same. Dynamism. All right, in other words, you took the leap. You took the leap and jumped into bed. And in a lot of these, it's just not clear. You know, here she is, and you've got all that incense burning in the background. You just don't know what kind of a lady she is. And if there's some significance to the thing tied around his wrist, other than, you're in for it now, buddy. like here it said, you know, nothing will be the same. But anyway, two people who have had their, I assume, first encounter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the incense sticks are your 8 wands in there. So now we're getting into kind of more public in terms of both of the next two, 9 and 10. The actual symbol of the wands are becoming more public. I don't even know. Oh, that guy has like 8 canes. That's very interesting. Okay. So they're getting further away from the body of the man. That's no longer the issue now. I think really past the 3 that was the case. So here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, we have the gate. The wands are actually that gate. And that's similar to, let me show you this. There are some similarities. There's the guarded. Okay, so this person is being guarded, and the child is the thing being guarded. Back here is the person being guarded. There's a child behind the gate, and I don't know if this is parents, but somebody's feeling, it's more like the child is feeling left out and suspicious of the attachment that's going on here. So, and 9, they say, a peek at a hidden kiss. Do not suffocate the moment under an avalanche of words. Okay, this is the shut up and kiss me card. Make silence scream, bodies tremble, thoughts crumble. But then there's the barrier. So maybe in this card for romance is just kind of putting other parts of life behind bars while you have your romantic interlude. Okay, and so next we have the 10 of Wands. And again, nothing, 10 of Wands is somebody, normally somebody with a burden on their back. Look at these people. They're in metropolitans, look like they're going down into the subway train station or something. But it's not at all about labor, it's about pleasure. At Port Dauphine, the heart guides your steps in the right direction. What will be, will be. Positive effort. Well, there doesn't look to be a lot of effort in here. I do get this. I do get this with the traditional Rider-Waite, is that he is, for one thing, you've got them splayed here, and that they do kind of point in a direction, and this is going down into, maybe it's the tunnel of love here. I hadn't thought of that. So maybe it's the tunnel of love they're going down into. But there is that idea in the Rider-Waite tarot, the classic tarot, is that you're taking things home. It's kind of the final stretch. You are taking things home. And there, I can see that here. If you look at that tunnel as the final way home, getting to the destination, or if you think of it as the tunnel of love in a little bit more randy interpretation. Okay, now we've come to the suits, or excuse the suits, the court cards. I'm saying suits, I'm looking at suits. This group is wearing, the first two anyway, are wearing suits, are page. The pages in this deck are not adolescent, they're more young men. In their mid-20s to even mid-30s. Maybe that's stretching it, mid to late 20s. So we don't have the more adolescent representation here because this is a deck about romantic love and passion. We do have some children depicted, but not many, and not as a page. All right, so here we have, you might even call him the young dandy. And just, you know, look at him, he's trying to be very upright and correct in his suit and bringing flowers in his top hat. But he's glancing at that lovely naked lady holding the lamp. Okay, so there's our page. And what do they say about the page? Cute, cute, and they call him the knave. Not, and that's pretty common. The man watching. So he's watching her. See with the eyes of a blind man. Sure, listen with the ears of a deaf man. Speak with the words of a mute man. But always love like a lover. Very funny. So they're calling it vision. Okay. So maybe they're looking at this page as being in the look but don't touch stage. Okay, so then we have the knight. And his horse actually looks much more like the Knight of Swords in the traditional tarot. And it looks like he's a yes, well, it looks sort of like a polo player. And he's got, I don't know if that's a crop or a stick. It being wands, it could go either way. But you see how he's got like a woman's scarf or something on there. So this is kind of hearkening to the traditional knights at a tournament where women would give the knight their favorite knight, her favor, a scarf or something to represent her, and they would sometimes tie it on their lance. And at any rate, so it's hearkening back to that. But again, the horse looks stressed, and the guy looks unconcerned about that, which is much more like the Knight of Swords in the traditional tarot. But it is appropriately dynamic, and it's called The Gallant Rider. Help will arrive when it is needed. That's, again, to me, that's a very classic. I always think of the Knight of Wands as being the here I come to save the day knight. So that's very classic. Help will arrive when it is needed. Do away with fears. Make way for dreams. Oh, isn't that nice? But he really doesn't look. And here they're giving the symbol of a voyage. So here I come to save the day, maybe. We'll take them at their word. All right, and I really love their Queen of Wands. She's probably the least pretentious of the queens. I really like her. But the funny thing about their wand royalty, their king and queen, is they're slouching. Both of them are slouching. They're slouching a little bit on the slovenly side. I don't get that. I don't get that take on things. But she's also amusing. She's also amusing. Oh, and they take a very interesting take on her. They're taking her as a madam. She doesn't strike me as a madam. Come on. Anyway, so to me it looks like she's watching a man disrobe for her. So I just think that that's a really amusing card, an amusing twist. At any rate, that's what I see there. She's watching him. She's fully robed. I love her red dress. It's representing the wands, and you see the staff and is the hat down? Yeah, the staff and the hat and the flowers on the floor. Very amusing card. She's probably my favorite court character in the deck. And then we have the king. Oh, whoops, I forgot to read you because this is amusing too for this queen. The proprietor of the house of pleasure. They're depicting her as a madam. Passion and loyalty are the secrets for leaving a mark in a heart of stone. That's interesting. But to go beyond, a friend is necessary. Well, that's interesting. Okay. All right, so we're at the king. We're at the king. And they're calling him the great actor. Anyway, he looks like a jerk to me. I'm sorry. he looks like a jerk. He's smoking a cigar. Okay, so he's smoldering. He's smoldering. He's smoking his cigar. You know, looks like he couldn't care less what you think of him. I don't know. He's not appealing. And in general, the kings in this deck are not appealing. It's like there's an implication that people in power do not make good romantic partners, or people in power are not romantic. That's not what they're about. So, you know, you wanna hang out with a king, you're gonna have to sacrifice the romantic end of things. Here, they're calling him the great actor. Honor will come with pain. Victory will be born of a defeat. Certainty will sprout from a doubt. Sorry if you can hear my dog snoring in the background. And control. And that's strange. I don't think of even the king in the traditional Rider-Waite, the King of Wands, being about control of the kings. He would not be the most controlling. So, all right, there we have it. There's the suit of Wands, and I'm just doing these one suit at a time. So I will leave it at that and end this video, and the next one will be about, this one was not bad actually, I must say, after a closer examination. This was one of the less cynical suits. I would say that the Cups was much more cynical and really had nothing to do with the traditional suit of Cups. It was much more about indulgence and indulging your pleasure. Okay, so that's that. I will be back to do individual videos on each of the remaining suits. Bye-bye.